Well, I think Sean has done a good job in terms of being in the job for only 2 days. This is a very tough situation to be put in. I'm glad the president has named someone as acting FAA administrator, a very, very important position, and has responsibility for air traffic controllers and the FAA generally. I think we should reach out, and our hearts do go out to the family members as they wait to hear about their loved ones that have perished, and some have been found, some haven't been found. I think our attention should really be on the family members and thoughts and prayers with them. I think really the questions that have been raised and the answers to those questions won't be really solved until the NTSB really delves into this and investigates it. This is an agency that's independent. It's not given to any political philosophy. Extraordinarily talented people at the NTSB, career people, professional people. Many of them have been involved in investigations of plane crashes all over America and some around the world. So they know what they're doing. They do take their time and deliberate and collect all the information. Obviously, you want to look at the black boxes in the plane and the helicopter. They'll want to listen to the tapes from the air traffic controllers and their conversations with the pilot of the American Eagle flight, and then talk to as many people as they possibly can. And so this will be a lengthy investigation, but NTSB will get to the bottom of it, and they will identify what the issues are. Now, for starters, we know that this is one of the busiest airspaces in the country. You have Dulles Airport, an international airport. You have Reagan Airport, an international airport. You have Baltimore, which is nearby, an international airport. You have a lot of general aviation airports. You have the military at the Andrews Air Force Base and other places where helicopters take off. So there's a lot of activity in a very, very busy airspace, and I'm sure the NTSB will be looking at that also and trying to determine if there are too many planes and helicopters in the air at one time, and so there'll be a lot of activity over the next several months, but the NTSB will get us answers.
Well, we do look forward to some answers. Secretary LaHood, I don't know how you feel about the president speaking in advance, sharing his opinion on what happened, and how that kind of impacts the way people are looking at this whole process that is very deliberate, to your point, professionals working at the NTSB with an enormous amount of experience. But he's talking about your former administration. I don't know what you think about this. He said, I changed the Obama standards from very mediocre at best to extraordinary. When I left office and Biden took over, he changed them back to lower than ever before. I put safety first. Obama, Biden, and the Democrats put policy first. This kind of language was pretty unusual to hear from the White House briefing room as a recovery operation is still underway. Secretary, what's he talking about?
I think we don't want to get ahead of the NTSB. We don't want to get ahead of the professionals who will go in depth on the causes of the crash. And they'll make.
Is he right that the Obama administration changed safety standards, though, or can we knock that down together right now?
If you look at the statement that I made before the Commerce Committee for my nomination, I talked about safety, number one priority. If you look at the 4.5 years that we were at DOT, we implemented some of the highest safety standards for every mode of transportation. And when the Colgan Air crash occurred in February of 2009, I was new in the secretary's position. I reached out to the families. I talked to all of the families. I reached out to Congress. With the families and with Congress, we passed one of the highest, people complimented us on the legislation that Congress passed for more pilot training, for more pilot rest, for making sure that pilots, in the case of Colgan, it was during an ice storm as they were coming into Buffalo, New York, that caused the plane to crash, plus not proper training by the pilots. And I've never really heard any criticism of the time that we were there in 4.5 years of any compromise of safety. We took safety as the highest priority. You talk to anybody in the industry about our administration and our priority on safety, and we get very high marks. So look at we'll wait to see what the NTSB says. But in terms of safety, during my time at DOT, the highest standards were set. And I think if you talk to the families of the Colgan air crash or to Congress, who passed a safety bill, safety for pilots, more training for pilots, they will tell you we worked very hard in a bipartisan way to get to the highest safety standards.
Well, and we appreciate that look back, sir. But if we could look forward as well, and we consider Reagan Airport, which has had much debate around the addition of flight slots last year to different destinations across the U.S., 10 round-trip flights in total. These questions around military aircraft having to share space and adjust altitudes with commercial aircraft. Do you see the need for changes here in terms of congestion at this airport, specifically given its proximity to the nation's capital?
Well, I believe there's way too much activity in that region. And for what I said before, 3 major international airports, general aviation airports, Andrews Air Force Base, the military air command that exists very near Reagan. And I think that will be looked at by the NTSB. It's a very crowded airspace. And I think the NTSB will take a very careful look at that. Last year, when Congress passed additional slots, additional opportunities for aircraft to fly into Reagan, I thought that was a mistake. There's just too much congestion.